Hi folks, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Natasha and I do book things here. Same day, different lip color, different video. Cool. 12-month, year-long Buzzword-a-thon where there's different buzzwords for each month, and so I'm going to talk to you about what I read for January's month, where the buzzword was dream. I'm planning on reading for February. This first one in January is going to be kind of a little bit of a weird video because it's sort of the jump start into this, but you'll see sort of how it progresses through the year, where I tell you what I'm reading in each month's video for the following month, and then update you at the end of that month. Does that make sense? You'll see. So in January, I'll talk about January, February. In February, it's what I read. And March's, blah, blah, blah. You get it. Okay. So I really looked at the buzzword, which I will leave down below links so you can click on it and go check it out. It'll be on KAYLAS' website. I go back and I reference that all the time because I forget all the time what I'm looking for. But I actually looked at it in December and went through all of my shelves, pulled everything, and it's all on a shelf down here now, ready for me to go month by month throughout the year, so I can kind of get an overview of how many books for this challenge I wanted to read. It's close to around 25, and they're all books that I previously owned. There's a couple months that I don't have a book in my current collection that hits the prompt. Whether or not I go and I buy books, I don't know, we'll see. But my main intention is to read some of my backlist stuff that's up on my shelves, my existing TBR, and to pick up books that like I might have forgot that I had. I knew that I wanted to read at some point, but I've just sort of forgotten about, or I prioritized other books ahead of them. January's buzzword was dream, and I had 2 books. So these are the 2 that I read. This is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick, and this is In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. And it's really interesting because if you've watched my wrap-up, which is already up, so you hear me talk about these a little bit, this is my least favorite book of the entire month, and this is my favorite book of the entire month, which is really interesting. I think it's interesting. It really kind of shows what my purpose of this was to read books that I wasn't planning on reading, not necessarily things that I think are going to be 5 stars, but just stuff up on my shelves, and challenges me to pick things sort of out of my comfort zone, you know? So these are 2 completely different books, completely different genres, both with dream in the title. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, least favorite book that I read in January. I rated it 2 stars. This is a older sci-fi book that was written in 1968, I believe, or the 60s, and it's set in a futuristic world set in 2021, where some humans have sort of like, some people have real animals and then some people have animatronic animals, and it's very concerning for them. Everybody's trying to get a real animal. So the main character in this story, for example, his neighbor has a real horse and he so badly wants a real horse, and they have a electric sheep. It's interesting because here's the thing, I didn't really like this book. I didn't really understand fully what the hell was going on. I did go and spark notes and read through chapter by chapter sort of the themes and things, but I mean, even still, even in that, I didn't necessarily for a while fully understand like why some people have horses or real animals and some people don't. There was a mass world war and it killed out a lot of species, and so real animals are very expensive, and then these animatronic ones, I say animatronic like that, Furbies are in my life, so I look at animatronics. The government builds these animals, but they've also built very realistic humans, and these androids are actually sent to Mars, and they're not allowed to live on Earth because people worry that they're going to sort of, I don't know, have like an android overtaking, I suppose, of these like not real humans. And so the character in this book, you're following more or less like a 24-hour period, which is really weird because it feels like such a longer span of time. But he is tasked with going and finding these androids and killing them, and all of that stuff happens. Very weird. I love the idea of sci-fi books. I like certain things in sci-fi, but the second it gets a little too, I don't know, it's hard to say. When you get into sort of like space war kind of sci-fi, I kind of drop out. When it gets sort of unbelievable and like super, I don't know. I like sort of modern day sci-fi with like a little bit of a twist. So like maybe 5 years in the future where like bread can talk. You know, something like that. Like just with like one weird thing and how that affects. Like, so I don't know, I found this really hard to read. It just didn't get me like some other books that I've read. I did like the idea of, you know, do androids dream of electric sheep? Are these sort of created fake humans having trouble sleeping? Do they dream of electric sheep or real sheep like humans dream of real sheep? It's kind of an interesting like topic. This is not a book to read when you're high. I'm just gonna go ahead and say didn't understand what the fuck was going on. I gave it a 2-star. That brings me to the best book I read in the month, which I do talk a little bit more at length in my wrap up, so you might want to go pop over and check that out. I'll sort of recap some of the stuff in this. This is In the Dream House by Carmen Rita Machado, and it is a memoir like I've never read, and it's told in little paragraphs, and some of them are even little lines, like very few couple pages, and it follows Carmen's relationship with a woman who is in the end abusive, and there's the love and the fake love and the mental and emotional abuse and like verbal abuse and the sort of feelings and stuff that creeps out because of that. So many little parts that I tabbed that I want to go back and read. I did read one in my wrap up, and it's just very emotional. There's stuff that hits home and then stuff that I hope I never have to relate to. At one point in this, it sort of plays with the idea of choose your own adventure, and so it really allows you to feel the emotions that she's feeling by saying, okay, in this moment, this traumatic event is taking place. Do you choose to do this, this, or this? If you choose that, go to this page. And it gives you the outcome, or it sends you back, like, just kidding, you would never do that. I've never read a book that plays so much with telling a memoir in a really difficult subject in a creative and impactful way. I feel like if I just read a full story, like a full novel that's like, hi, I met this person and they were attractive and we fell in love and we started dating and they were shitty, okay, the end, this is what I learned, it would be like, okay, that's a sad story. But the way that this is compiled and the way that this is broken down, and it's almost these little snapshots, or what's the word, vignettes, these isolated moments that when you read them back to back to back to back all together as a whole, and each individual one is so well written, it tells you just this overwhelming story that I feel like most people could relate to at least a certain part of that, which makes it in whole such a fantastic novel or memoir, right? I love this. It's not an easy read. It's not necessarily a fun one, but it was incredible. And these were two books that I entirely was not ready to read in the month of January, or was not going to read in the month of January outside of this challenge. So I would love that. I think that's cool. That brings me to the 3 books that I'm planning to read for the February prompt, which is color, or a color. And so for this, what I did was I have all my TBR books up on my Goodreads. I meticulously put them all up there, and I went through and I searched by color. So I went white, black, you know, pink, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, blah, 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 silver, blah, like, you know, all that stuff. And these were the 3 that were on my shelves. I'm convinced I have more, maybe, but these were just the 3 that I found. These are going to be the 3 that I attempt to read in the month of February, trying to remind myself that February is missing a couple days and I need to get on my shit, because I ordered like too many pre-orders as well. So I have some books to read in February. So the first one I have here is Ramona Blue, and by Julie Murphy, and this is a book that I've had up on my shelves for a while, and something that I know a lot of people in the community really liked when it first sort of made its rounds. And so as far as I'm aware, I don't know a whole lot about these books going in. As far as I'm aware, it follows a character who has blue hair. That I know. Great, love that. And they know that they like girls, but I believe their friend comes back, their male friend comes back, and so it talks a lot about like, do I like girls, do I like guys now, and maybe sort of the fluidity of sexuality, which I can relate to in a certain, you know, way. I came out as pansexual last year, so I kind of feel that sort of pull is of like, am I bi, am I pan, I don't know. And ultimately deciding on an identity or a label that sort of works with me. Whether or not the character will do that, I'll have to read the book and see. I'm interested. And it sounds good. So up next is a book, again, that's sort of not one that I would have read, at least not this soon, and that is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Now, this book is one of my friend's favorite books and favorite series, and so I feel like it's only like about time that I actually read the book and talk to him about it. So this is Jeff's best man's favorite series. Again, I don't know much about it. From what I sort of understand, it's very fast-paced, happens on Mars, and sort of overtaking the new Mars government. That's all I know. Literally just that, all I know. But I did hear that it's very fast and it sort of picks up right away. So I'm intrigued. We'll see if I like it. I'm hoping, like, I mean, it's been out for a while. I'm hoping that some of these have audiobooks, and then hopefully I can get through them, because I have some big books. Like, these are big chunky books. So, you know, I only have a certain amount of hours to read. And then the last book I have here also has Red in the title, and that is What Red Was. This is a arc that I had up in my shelves, but I don't have the final copy. So this follows a woman in her first week of university, which I like that sort of age range, so it's one of the reasons why I grabbed this arc. And they've been friends with this guy that they've known for years, and he comes from a place of like wealthy privilege, and all of that is fine and dandy, and they're friends and blah blah blah, until something goes down at a party at his house, and trigger warnings, sexual assault in this, that I know. And so, you know, you can sort of be led to believe about what is going to happen at this party. And then it talks about power, privilege, what it means to sort of come from money and stay silent and being sort of paid off in that sort of sense. So this is not going to be a fun one either. It's not going to be super warm and fuzzy, but I feel like it'd be an important read, and sort of touches on some stuff that's been in the media lately with, like, you know, certain people's cases, and women coming out and saying, like, hey, no, this is actually what happened. As of like today, there's certain celebrities that's being happened to on Twitter that's trending. So it's always something that's not fun to read about, but I feel like important to get other people's like perspectives. I feel like with the subject matter that's in this, I don't often like to read real life accounts of it, because it's too hard for me to read about, but sometimes reading it in more of a fictional story is, I don't want to say softer, but you don't have to sit with that you're reading a first-hand account. So this is probably going to be really depressing, let's get real. But those are the 3 books that I want to read for the Buzzword for Color. So I will update you at the beginning of March, end of February, beginning of March, about how I did, and then what I'm planning on reading for March. Folks can stay tuned to that video. But yeah, hopefully you like this video. Let me know if you're participating in this as well. Again, I'll leave all the information down below if you are. I always encourage people to read what is currently or already on your shelves. That way we can get through some books, because we all got too much shit sitting around in our house that you're not reading. I know you're not. But you might want to pick some up and read them. And maybe this will encourage you to do that. So, and I will see you later. Bye.